And as I would suggest, it's basically my gaming review. Now, if you guys have seen my last live stream, you guys know that I have even mentioned this. Basically, me saying that I will do this. Now, the way this potential series is going to work is I will be focusing on, I believe, uh, three main things: the actual game story, the gameplay aspects, and the actual other minor aspects, which is basically just like the open world and upgrades that you can get in the game. Now, let's start off with the actual basically
Got any more giant squid in
game
there?
gameplay.
Well, if you see any more shrines about, you can always ask.
Now the gameplay is not that bad, although what it's not really much of a complaint or like
That dragon
a personal
is
pet
flawless,
peeve.
isn't it?
Yes.
And you brought it down to save me?
It was
Basic,
very heroic.
basically, if these guys will shut up and I can find land, I can actually show you what I mean. So, let's try to find land, but in the meantime, I will basically talk about this series' main goal, I guess you say. It's basically nothing too major, just me saying my personal likes and dislikes with the game. I've done something similar, like, way back, uh, when, about, Assassin's Creed Origins. Because that game had a lot of good things about it, but I never really put, like, an in-depth, feel about it. Oh god, I'm gonna sneeze. Ooh, I'm so sorry. Now, what I mean about the actual gameplay aspect is, as you can see, the HUD is down in the bottom left. They actually moved that from other previous God of War games where it was actually in the top left. Not to mention, oh jeez, I apologize. Like during this time of year, I get very bad allergies. But the actual gameplay aspect of this is they still kept like light and heavy attacks. Like that's something that I really much enjoy. But they also made Atreus like more, I guess you could say, compatible, because you can now like direct his, like he has two different arrows. And if you guys haven't figured this out already, there are going to be a lot of spoilers if you guys don't know. Atreus has two types of arrows: lightning arrows, and these arrows that activate crystals that do something else that I might not get into. Now, the actual gameplay isn't bad, except you're now limited. Now, the only other game I have to really compare this God of War and previous God of War games to are Ghosts of Sparta. And it's not because I don't like the previous games, it's just that I have not played them. But I have seen some gameplay from them, and I have a pretty good idea of how they work and basically how other things like can compare to it. One thing major is the fact that you have Atreus with you, and what I find is very cool and interesting is if you die, he can actually revive you with stones that you can buy. I will talk about that later on when I get to the other like bonus items and things. Another thing is you start off with this frost axe. I know that's not the real name. Those of you who are gonna get mad at me in the comments saying that's not the name, well, that's what I call it. Now the axe at its base is pretty good. Like they strayed away from the blades of chaos, which you do not get until later on in the game, which is why I have them right here. But one thing, when I first started playing this and saw like trailers, I'm thinking, wait, he always had those blades, like those were his signature blades, but now they're gone. Now, what they don't do is they introduce all these different like actual aspects with like now you can like swap the weapons. Like the axe itself has its own like special abilities and things. And basically like movement wise, in God of War games that I've played, Kratos can jump super high in the air. But and here's what I think that was going through their mind is Atreus cannot do that. He cannot jump with you, so they basically said, Kratos, he can't carry him. Like he only actually carries him when he's going like across like ledges or something like that. Otherwise, you can't do any cool jumps or do anything of that nature. And I think it's mainly because Atreus is like tied to you. Like you can't like send him like off somewhere just like, hey, wait here or anything like that. He's always gonna follow you. Another thing about the actual gameplay is these runes. Like you see those things right next to the axe icon. Those are runes that you can use for like different attacks. And as you progress through the game, you can actually buy and unlock these, I believe. So just as a demonstration. Okay, that was not what I wanted. Oh yeah, you got to do it with the shield out. This thing, see, it does that, and this thing. Now, what I believe is the runes themselves have their own powers, or like power rolls. Like the one on the top, since it's activated by the light attack, it's more of a lighter, like not very powerful attack, and the bottom one is more of a devastatingly hard blow. And then there's a separate rune that actually gives you like some miscellaneous power that basically helps you in battle, is from what I get. Like the one I have equipped, it basically gives me like a burst of a little health. Like it gives me like slight healing for like a little bit. So it basically gives me survivability. And I like it, and I would not trade it. Moving on to the actual blade themselves, they are just like before. Like you have these, you have the light attack, which is the one I've equipped is more like a scorpion come here. And then there is the heavy attack, which is, oh no, I'm stupid. I'm not even doing the same things. Like these are just like the axe, the blades, the regular attacks, and they still have the actual like fire like aspect. And doing these attacks, like you actually see, they kept a lot of attacks from other games. Now, like I said, ignites the shield and does that. That's one of his attacks. And this thing hit the grain. Hit the grain. Yeah, he's a farmer. He hit the grain. And no, he hit the ground hard with two very powerful attacks. And the runes do not change. And for each weapon, you can only have 2 runes equipped. So that's 4 in total. Not to mention that even mid-battle, you can change out these pretty quickly. So if you want to freeze an enemy with the axe, you can just throw it, leave it in them, and you still have weapons to deal with. And you can even call it back. Now, moving on to actual, like, dodging evasions. Contrary to other games from what I can remember, it's been a long time since I played them, don't rage, is there is no more of the, I think you could counter in some, I think, if I remember correctly, you could, like, counter attacks and, like, knock things back. I can't remember if it's a perk or something that you can averagely do. Somebody tell me. But now, there's more of, like, a roll attack, and I got super confused when I first, like, started, like, evading, because the roll reminds me of the Infamous 2 franchise, because in that game, you press circle to, like, dodge and evade. But in this, circle doesn't do anything, so I'll be like fighting an enemy and I can't deal with them. Just can't. Alright. Moving on to other items that you get. I'm actually gonna go to this screen. Now, as you can see here, I've already talked about these different runes. And see this? Like, you get like all these different things that you can like add onto your weapon to make them stronger. And something that I find is very interesting and cool is you can't like just go out, gather materials, and like make your weapon stronger like how you would in other games, where like you just get like the orbs of like the orbs of upgrade and just like pile them all into one thing. That's out. You actually need to go to a separate like forge thing and then get a specific material which you cannot buy to upgrade your axe and the Blades of Chaos. And I actually like that because it makes you actually going there and upgrading weapons matter more instead of you just going out and like not stopping. Now each of these runic attacks, like they have different like aspects to them and like they do different things, and you can upgrade them with XP, which I find is not that bad, but it's not really that good either. Also, as you can see, you cannot just upgrade them all to their full. Those light runes that you see, like the orange-ish kind, that's what you can upgrade, and that's it. Like as you can see, like it just it's bad for, in my opinion. Because then, if you want something that has like good damage, frost and sun, you're gonna need to find or buy the actual runic attack, and then upgrade it. And if you don't have enough upgrade points, well, not gonna be able to upgrade it. Like you're just gonna have to deal with it. Not to mention, I'll just show you here. You can upgrade it, and it will lock more upgrades, but it will always have a specific limit. Like watch, just because. See, that's it. That's all I can upgrade for this. Like it has no frost damage, but it has 3 frost and 2 damage, which is not very good if you're trying to like freeze the enemies and like give them a little bit of a stumble. And something that you can do that I recently found out before even making this video is you can actually change these runic attacks mid-battle, but they have to not be on cooldown. So say that I used this attack in battle. I'm going to have to wait 46 seconds before I can change it out for something else. And it's basically the same thing for these ones too. Like, the upgrade the same, like you need to wait for the cooldown in order to use it, and basically interchange it again. And basically that's for all weapons. Something cool with Atreus though is I showed you his different arrows. Those arrows have different effects to them. The lightning arrow like shocks and stuns your opponent, but there's actually a meter that you need to fill up so that they're actually shocked and stunned. Same thing with the blue arrows. Like the blue arrows actually give you what I'm gonna call a bash. I'm pretty sure it has an actual name, but I'm gonna call it basically bash kill, even though there's no bashing. Basically, after the enemy gets like a certain amount of like I'm gonna call it bash damage or even a stun, like Kratos can charge up and basically instant kill them, or if they still have a lot of health left, they will basically take a lot of damage. And during that time, Kratos is immune to all damage, but afterwards you need to basically block or dodge or something. Now, just like how Kratos has different runic attacks, Atreus has runic summons. Each of these summons is like a different animal type thing, and they each have like different like area of AOEs and things. So basically, what I don't like about this is they give a bad description of like how to use slash how they work. Cause like yeah, it gives you a actual like picture on the right like of how it looks, like how it functions, but unless you actually use it, you're not gonna understand the actual full like what's it called, damage I guess you could say of it. Cause when I first got Falcon's Dive, every time I used it, like my enemies would not get hit by it, even if I lock onto them and then call like press the button to actually make it do that. It's not gonna happen. Like the enemies, like it will just reject it. That's why I like using the Wrath of the Wolves, because they will actually run and target, or like run and charge at different targets. So like it's already homed. All right, now that we talked about weapons and things like that, we're gonna move on to armor. This is also something that's new, unless you get like a Kratos skin or something. Different armors also have different like sockets for like these rune things, which also like give you bonuses in battle. As you've probably been seeing, there is like this. It's a level gauge basically, with like different things that like basically. Oh, I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, guys. It basically like tells you different things about like what these things do and like how they're gonna affect you. So basically these runes affect it and can basically go like hey, you want this? Oop, I went to the wrong tab. Hey, let's go to my runes. See, I only have 2, or not runes. Let's go to my armors. These are 2 different armors. This is the classic armor, which as you can see, it would take away all that, and this armor like adds onto it. And you can get better armor and even improve this, with like materials you find out in the wild, but you're gonna need to get lucky. Like you need to open like a chest and hope that you get a material from it, because it's random from what I have seen. Like it's not like, hey, this material's over here, you can go farm it from enemies. Nope, not that. You actually need to get lucky in a chest. Same thing with Atreus, like you can upgrade his stuff too, or buy him. Or no, I don't think you can upgrade his things. I think you can only buy him different armor that does different things. And basically what armor does, it just basically, like I said, it increases your stats and helps you survive in battle. Same things with runes and sockets. Now, I learned about these, like, when I first got this, I spammed through the walkthrough for all these menus. I'm just like, I don't need them. So I learned about sockets very late. And I suggest you start investing in those sockets, because they will save your life. Next up, you have the classic skills that you can buy, like, for different attacks and everything. As you can see, I have them all maxed out. But this is actually good that I don't have this completely maxed out, because as you can see, these 5s, it means that I need to upgrade my blades again to level 5 in order to unlock these upgrades. That's something I like, because it actually makes you upgrading your weapon to make it stronger impact your actual skills too. So not only are you getting it stronger for like base damage, you're also getting stronger attacks. And Atreus has this too, but I basically didn't put him up as a priority because, don't get me wrong, his arrows are good, but I just don't really care for them because he doesn't do much in battle. Like, you can't like send him to distract an enemy or whatever. Like, as you can see, there are like different combat skills that he has, but unless it's in a specific scenario, he's not going to do anything. Like, and what's worse is, unless you actually focus and press the button to make him shoot arrows, he's just gonna stand there and doing nothing. Like, he's basically just there to watch. Like, moving on to the map, we still have this, like, map, and from what I can remember from God of War games, is they didn't have this open world aspect to it. Like, they only had one place that you can go. Like, it's only, like, going forward, you can't go back unless you restart your progress. What I like about this open world thing is you can go back to other places like and explore with items and weapons that you got from later in the game. So a good game that you can compare this to is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like, you can go wherever you want, and if you didn't have a specific item for here and you unlock it later in the game, you can go back and do whatever you need to do to get the secret or whatever. And what I find cool is we're not limited to one map. Like, we have several. Here we have Alfheim, Helheim, and Jotunheim, which I got very disappointed about. But we will get into that in a little bit. Next, we have the goals, which is basically a quest log. Like, they have the basic things like favors, which are, you can guess, like, are like side quests. Then we have the main quest line, which is I completed it. Then we have miscellaneous things that have no markers whatsoever. Like, see, you have no markers whatsoever, like, oh, these are treasure maps. I'm being stupid. Like, yeah, you have, like, treasure maps and different artifacts that you can collect, but, like I said, you need to find these on your own. Like, there's no markers, you can't do anything. And what's worse is, the reward for it the rewards aren't really that good for them. Like, as you can see, like, it's just XP for all these. For treasure maps, all you get is, like, money and basically upgradable things, which if you beat the game, like, upgraded all your stuff to full, like, these are basically useless. Next we have the codex. I actually like this because before, if you wanted, like, to actually know about, like, the actual lore or even a creature, like, you'd have to, like, look it up on, like, some sort of different thing. But, like, in God of War Ghost of Sparta, the one I played, like, the only actual lore we get is from what's in the actual game and items, like items that you can pick up. Because in Ghost of Sparta, there's King Midas and you can get his ring, and it will actually say, oh, this was King Midas's ring. Like, it does this if you basically, like, restart the game. Like, it will give you, like, more money or whatever. And moving on to Bestiary, like it actually shows all the enemies that you've encountered throughout the game, and it even shows you like your allies that you've even met. Like these are creatures from different worlds, elves, and like it even shows the friends, and like even like what you know about them so far. Like that actually gets upgraded as you move along too. Like as you progress in the game, like it will show you, like, oh, this is basically who this person is. Like Freya, when you meet her, it only says, hey, this is a witch that we met in the woods. And what I like about it is it's written in Atreus' point of view. So whatever he knows about it, like that's what you're gonna know. One moment, so I can get a drink. All right, moving on to resources. Now this is what you actually use to upgrade your stuff. And basically it's at the log of what you have. Basically, it's like the miscellaneous section in any other games. And these are like special items that you have that I believe you can sell like for money, because they're not going to really do anything unless they're like something really, really important, like a quest item or something. And with those two things out of the way, we are finally moving on to the actual story of God of War. Now, I'm not going to ramble on and make this a super long, basically, storyline. I'm basically going to give you the broad strokes of it. So basically, in the beginning, as we know, Kratos slash Atreus's, or Kratos and Atreus's wife slash mother dies. So it basically, they're going to bury her ashes at the highest peak in the world, basically. That's the way I can say it. So basically, they go on this whole adventure. They run into a demigod, or I think he's a god or demigod. I think it's a god, who basically wants to kill Kratos. And it's not really like given. Like this is the first time we're meeting him. Like he wants to kill Kratos for some miscellaneous reason that even they don't know about. Later on, we find out that he's one of Zeus's children. And basically, he's invulnerable. Like, he has a life bar, but he gets right back up, and basically, he's just like, yeah, no, I'm not dead. Like, you fight him, I believe, 3 times, and then the final time, he actually stays dead, because we find out his weakness. But I'm not gonna tell you guys, because play the game yourselves. But, yeah. Basically, you beat him, find out that Freya is actually a goddess. That's why when I looked at the bestiary, it says goddess Freya, who was actually married to Zeus. And throughout the whole game, like they keep talking about, like, oh, Zeus did this, Thor did that. This person doesn't like him. Like they fought in a great battle, and they keep talking about like Zeus and like other gods like so much. Just like, yeah, these guys are amazing. And we even fight gods. We fight 2 of Thor's children, and we even fight Zeus's child, who is basically the immortal guy who we find a weakness to, and that's it. Those are literally the only gods that we actually face. The rest are different monsters and basically repetitive things. Like, and they talk about Zeus so much in the game, like you're actually gonna fight him, like you're gonna actually go on this quest, kill him, do whatever, you know? And what I find even worse is, there are dragons in this game. Like, we've seen 1 dragon already. Now, there are several other dragons here, but you do not fight them. You fight 1. Well, 2, technically. You actually fight 1, and 1 you fight in an actual cutscene, which you have no control over. The rest of the dragons here, I think there are like 7 dragons in all. In all those, you fight 2 of them. The rest, you free. Like, that's it. Like, they don't attack you, even though that, like, their breath attack will, like, start attacking you during the freeing them process. Like, you don't kill them. Like, they just fly away. They're gone. You know. And I feel like fighting more dragons, like, having bigger fights with, like, tougher enemies is gonna be amazing. So, basically what I'm saying here is, they keep talking about how all these creatures and gods are amazing, but we never fight them. Like seriously, like we never fight them. Like they're just, you know, like they're in the lore, basically. Like I mean, really, like that. All they're in, they're like in the lore. They're like, hey, this is the lord of this. They're like, yeah, like they keep talking about it. They keep talking about like, hey, Zeus is this big guy. Like he's a main focal point of their whole discussion, like throughout the entire game. Just like Zeus is a treacherous man. Like he's a crude person, and we don't fight him. We don't even see him. Like we literally don't even see him. We see his kids, and we see his what? And we see his ex-wife. That's it. That is freaking it. And note, when we fight his freaking his kid with basically immortality, like we find his weakness in the most foreshadowing way. Basically, in the game, Atreus gets these green arrows that I don't even think they had a proper name, and his actual strap for his quiver gets broken. So Kratos actually takes one of the arrows, snaps it, and fixes it with that. Don't ask me how, it just how it works. Then they meet Freya. Freya says, oh no, these are evil, takes them and burns them. After that, like throughout several other missions, we find out that Freya is a god, or goddess, and that she is actually the mother to the basically immortal guy. Now, during the whole game, I'm thinking, why would she destroy those? Like, we're never given a clear answer to why she, like, didn't like the arrows. Like, she didn't say they were evil. She didn't say, like, they're, like, filled with chaotic energy or anything like that. Like, she just says, oh, no, you shouldn't have these. Here, take these arrows instead. And that really struck a chord with me, because it's super foreshadowing, and it's not a surprise at all for anyone who has a brain. So, like, the way we actually find out that the arrows are basically kryptonite to the immortal guy is he actually punches Atreus and gets cut by the arrow, or the arrow part, and basically takes away his immortality, or like his invulnerability, and then we kill him. That's literally how it goes. And once I saw that, and I'm like, she didn't like him, but she gave him the immortality because she's his mother. So I'm thinking, those arrows, and I'm basically, it's so foreshadowing, and you don't even have to think that hard. In other God of War games, like when you meet someone who's super strong, like they bring in this item that nobody knows anything about. You're just learning about it right now, and bam, like everything's fine. Die, frog. Sorry, I just had to do that. But yeah, like basically the entire game, we get all this hype, and then the ending comes. The ending comes, we beat that guy, and at this point in the game, it's not that tough. Like, you know how to fight enemies, you know how to fight strong enemies, you know how to dodge, like use your weapons, switch them, do all that. So it's not a hard boss fight. So afterwards, you think after they go to the highest peak in all the realms to scatter the Atreus' mother / Kratos' wife ashes, they basically go like, yeah, let's do it. Scatter the ashes. That's it. Like that's it. Like there's no other boss fight. Like in all other God of War games, there's there's some sort of like huge boss fight, and that's how the game ends. Like there's a huge boss fight. You're feeling victorious. And that's it. In this game, you go up a mountain, scatter some ashes. That's it. When you go up to even when you climb the mountain, there's no enemies. There's literally no one there. All you're doing is walking there and talking. That's it. You're just walking there and talking to Atreus. That's it. That's all you're doing. And it really, like, struck a chord with me, because I'm like, this is so anticlimactic. You know? Like, look, we get this cool weapon, and we get these back. And even during that, like, Kratos, like, has to admit to Atreus, like, throughout the game, like, you go, like, I'm a god, I've killed other gods, like, and you're a god too, basically. We get all these bombshells that Atreus is dealing with, like, we find out some things about Atreus, and it gets me, like, so hyped up to, like, oh man, I bet the super finale is gonna be against Zeus, and Atreus is gonna, like, whip out some of his super god powers or whatever. But no, we go up a mountain, spread some ashes. That's it. And that's what I don't like about this game. Gameplay's good. The upgrading system, that's all good. The actual lore, but the actual story of the game, like the actual plot line of the story, is bad. I know many of you are going like, no, it's not bad. Like it's meant to be like a heartfelt and touching story. I don't see it that way. I feel like that this game is only meant to bring up hype because God of War franchise slash series is a big like thing that many people know throughout many generations, and they basically just squandered it all in this storyline. Like I understand Kratos is a father now, but he doesn't treat Atreus as a child. He treats him more as like a prodigy that he is teaching. Throughout the entire game, he says boy. Like, and I feel like in the future he's gonna even call Atreus by his real name, or he might even call him like some sort of like Spartan warrior rank. Now, throughout saying all this, I realize that I'm basically saying everything is good except for the actual story, which is the focal point of all this. Like literally, I like everything about this game. I like the runes. I like how they added new things. Heck, I, I even like consider like failure in this game and like even some other faults good. Like I find all those good. It's just the story that ruins it for me. Throughout even playing this, I'm like, oh man, this boss is tough. Like it's not fair that they can do that. I accept all that because like it's a game. Like it's supposed to be challenging, especially a game like God of War. Because if I had to rank games like of like difficulty, this is ranked between the Dark Souls and Bloodborne like series as the super hardest, and the weakest being let's say Skyrim. This is in between because it gives you a challenge, but the challenges are leveled. Like throughout the game, you're leveling up, you're getting better gear and items. Like there's always that like critical point where there's a difficulty line and you're below it. You reach above it, but then there's a stronger enemy that pushes you down below it again. Now I'm pretty sure that there's an actual name for this, but all I can say about it is the way that they made it and way that they made it feel for us is good. The actual story itself is bad. I feel like if they had like one more epic boss fight between Kratos and like I don't know, maybe like a mercenary from Zeus, I would accept that as a good ending. And who knows, maybe even Atreus like would kill him. Because so far Atreus has technically killed one god, and that god wasn't even at full strength. He was literally weakened and already on the verge of death. I would love to see Atreus pull out some sort of like amazing magical skill or something. Instead, he's underrated. Even in combat, if he dies, so what? He dies. You have to keep fighting. And after all the enemies are dead or a certain amount of time passes, he gets right back up and starts fighting again. Kratos, on the other hand, if he goes down and dies, that's game over for you. Heck, I would even accept it if you actually had to watch Atreus and like make sure that he's doing his job and surviving. Because not only would that, I feel like that would make a better like gameplay aspect, it would also make up for so much in this game. So basically, in my conclusion for this, I guess gaming review, is God of War. It's an amazing game. I like the actual gameplay aspects. I like the actual upgrading and leveling. I like all of it. But the story, I feel like it's underrated. The story and Atreus. They're both in that same boat. Like throughout it all, Atreus is even proving that he is no longer a child. He's proving that he can actually survive and that he is a man. But can't do that. Heck, I would like it in the next God of War game if Atreus is the new like main character. Like I don't know, like Kratos dies or something, Atreus is trying to revive him. Like something like that. And he actually has to go to Mount Olympus or something to kill a god in order to get Kratos' soul, so that he could live again. I would accept that. Like that for me would be an excellent sequel to this, because because we'd be able to fight more gods, learn more about this game and like its universe. Not to mention, we'd get like a new character like to focus on. Kratos has been in the God of War series since the very beginning, and he is the most iconic figure of it. But this game, they dumbed him down. In other God of War games, basically, what they did is they made him an amazing fighter. Like I said, there was leveled system, but everything was doable, and you could see that it was doable until a point. And I feel like Kratos, he's getting older, he's changing. Like as you can see, like his markings are fading. To me, I believe that's probably something that's happening to him. Like maybe he's dying. He may be a god, but don't forget, he was a mortal at first. So in my eyes, he is a demigod. He can die. Atreus, he's even more of a risk of dying than Kratos is, because his mother was mortal. Like she did not live forever. Like nothing like that. Kratos' parents were both mortal. It's only God. Not God. It's only Kratos' God ranking that gives Atreus a leap, or even a perk for this. Now, when I started this, it was like all hearty and joy-filled, but now I'm bridging more toward the sign of I'm I'm basically talking myself into not liking this game, but that's not possible. I like this game. It's only the story. Put that on a T-shirt if you want. Basically, to wrap this all up, I'm gonna say these last few parting words. If you guys like this series and want me to do reviews on other games, tell me. But remember, I will only do gaming reviews on games I have played, and they don't even have to have a story. They could be like some, I don't know, like you can ask me to do a gaming review on Overwatch or Fortnite or something. Anyways, it's just Gus here, signing off. I hope you like this. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and if you want more of this, tell me in the comments. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.